We have quorum. Chairman, we have quorum.
We don't see anybody signed in yet, but they're not signed in yet, but we do have quorum, so we can get started.
Do we have to get started now? We've got a quorum?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm calling this meeting, March 20 of GBIC to order. Roll call, please.
Roll call. Chairman Anker Jensen.
Present.
Vice Chairman Dr. Joe Hinojosa.
Present.
Treasurer Gerardo Gonzalez.
Present.
Secretary Liliana Elizondo.
Present.
Board Member Frank Orozco Jr. Board Member Anna O'Quinn.
Present.
Board
Virtual.
Member Board Member Benjamin Peña.
Present.
And for the record, Mr. Frank Orozco is not here. Next item, public comment period. There were no registered comments, Chairman. Next item, consideration and action, if any, on the following items. Approval of the minutes of special workshop and regular board meetings. A, regular February 20, 2025. B, special February 26, 2025. B, acknowledgement regarding the payment of vendors services invoice to the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation for the month of February 2025.
Can I have a motion to approve the regular February 20 meeting and the special meeting on the 26th?
So moved.
Second, any discussion? Okay, everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Next item, staff report, business retention and
We didn't do
expansion.
the
It
vendor.
didn't include acknowledgement regarding payment of vendors.
I make a motion to acknowledge the vendor invoices.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Everybody in favor say aye.
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 Aye, the ayes have it, the motion carries. Approved. Next.
Next item, staff report, business retention and expansion and workforce development efforts, marketing and communications, business recruitment and events, executive report. Business retention and expansion and workforce development efforts by Giovanna Rangel.
Good afternoon, board members. This past month, I performed five business retention expansion visits. Some of them included board visits, some were Rich Products, where we took one of our consultants to kind of learn about the different industries that we have here in Bronzeville. We also attended the STMA meeting that happened in February, where we were able to give an update as an EDC to the members that are part of the STMA organization. Additionally, we also attended the Bronzeville Chamber of Charles Day Mixer as a team, so that was very fun. Thank you, Mr. Ben, for putting something like that together. Was definitely very fun. The women from the GBIC team also were invited to be at the RGB Women in Government panel. I was one of the speakers. Very honored to be a part of that panel. Was able to share some insight with two different organizations, the Accounting Society with UTRGV and the entrepreneurship as well. So that was definitely very inspiring to see a very well-attended event that was put together by college students. In addition, we also attended the Women's Leadership Conference hosted by the City of Bronzeville, where we were able to listen to a couple of the panelists, one of them being Ms. Leaders. So Ms. Leaders, I'm sorry, and Marlene, myself, and Marcela were able to attend that. Next slide, please. Additionally, we were able to host our first Q1 roundtable. The topic was navigating trade challenges. I want to thank our board members for attending. We had 44 in attendance from, city officials to manufacturing companies, logistics, a little bit of everything. We had a great turnout, great feedback, and we're excited to host these every quarter. We're going to be having different topics of discussion. Our two main speakers focused on, the hot topic of what is tariffs. So stay tuned for Q2. That's happening in July 10th. Next slide. And before our Q2, we will be having Rally in the Valley, April 16th. We will be sending those save the dates. So if you guys are able to attend and support this event, we would love for you all to attend. Just to remind y'all, this is an event hosted specifically for seniors in high school. From BIC, IDEA, Harmony, St. Joe, all of the different high schools in Bronzeville. And lastly, just wanted to give you all a final report on the high demand job training grant that was awarded to TSC for the PCT program in 2023. We received the final numbers, and based on their performance, we will be receiving a refund of about $75,000, and that is due to the fact that they only trained 33 of the 66 students that were a target. So as a reminder, TWC matched $150,000, and we did another $150,000. So as a result of that, again, we'll be receiving $74,753.96. Any questions?
You realize that you always miss out on international ship breaking. They just got the JFK, the aircraft carrier, out there. So I don't miss out on that massive opportunity.
Definitely. So I have reached out to them a couple times, just, continuing to work with them to see when we can come out there. And
The person you need is either Robert Berry or Chris Green.
yes, sir.
They're the two heavy hitters out there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rangel. Next item, marketing and communications by Marcela Saenz.
Good afternoon, board members. To make it easier to read my, my social media report, I highlighted in green the percentages of our growth from the previous 30 days. And we've had pretty good growth. We're not doing any paid promotions or anything at the moment. It's just basically we're attending more events. We are hosting our own events. We are cross-posting with different organizations and different entities, and that's bringing more awareness to our social media. So we're doing great in that regard. Next slide. Marketing and PR, national and international efforts. We concluded our immersion tour with our consultants today. It was a very successful immersion tour. We took them to different companies. They spoke with some of you as well. They were able to get a feel of our community, of just like an overview of how Brownsville is, so that they can help us further marketing and public relations strategies at a national and international level. And then the next step for that is we'll be receiving a perception study next week on Monday. After Monday, I'm going to start sharing it with you. And it would be really helpful if you could help us. We're going to do it as well, GBIC, but just gather some, insights from our community, sharing that study. And it's basically just an internal stakeholder survey to gather more information as to what people from Brownsville think about Brownsville. Then the next one is the external talent survey. They're going to be taking care of that. They will be sharing it with their contacts. And the Brownsville Site Selector Survey, also, they will be taking care of that. Local efforts. We are working on our first video series to showcase the work behind GBIC. We filmed our first episode with our CEO. It'll be released in early April. And some of the highlights of what we cover in this video is just what our mission is, our leadership approach, the fact that we're driving job creation, that we're fostering economic growth, and it's basically an intro video for our community to learn more about GBIC and our purpose.
Question, what is SSC survey?
Site Selector Survey.
Oh, okay, sorry. Too many abbreviations.
Okay, and last but not least, our website. I created this graphic just to give you a visual of where we're at right now. We'll be ready to launch in August. We already completed all the concepts for the first page and all the secondary pages that the website will have. And right now they're basically working on actually designing each one of the pages and programming everything and copywriting.
Question, if you want some good aerial photographs of different things, talk to Robert Berry in EMR. He flies around and takes photographs all the time.
Okay,
So he'll be a good source for aerial photographs for you.
thank you. And any questions? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Saenz. Next
Thank you.
item, business recruitment and events. Updates will be presented by Gilberto Salinas. Next item, executive report by Gilberto Salinas.
Chairman, members of the board, so Jerry is in Austin. He is at the University of Texas speaking on a panel of economic developers about recruitment and development of tech companies as well as AI, now that that's kind of an emerging sector. Before I get into my report, I'll add to, Mr. Chairman, you were asking about international shipbreaking. Myself, I would appreciate if you're able to make an introduction. That way we can take it from there, because and Giovanna's done a fantastic job of reaching out. It just hasn't been reciprocated. So if you could help with that, that would be fantastic.
Tell me when we can, and we'll just get in the car, go out there, see them. I've known these guys for 35 years. We don't need an introduction.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, so IDC Leadership Summit, Jerry and myself were there last week, attended some of the sessions there, met up with some of our industry colleagues. We did have an opportunity to speak at one of the sessions, which was with John Karras, who's a consultant, economic development consultant, who actually spoke at our roundtable last week as well. He asked us to be on that panel up in Washington, D.C., to share some perspective on issues pertaining to border tariffs, and then also some of the projects. This week, thank you to our board members that were able to meet with our consultants from New York. That's DCI. They were in town most of the week, meeting with business leadership. It was part of their immersion tour, just kind of coming in, kicking the tires per se, just to learn about our community, because they're the ones that are going to be promoting Brownsville at the national and international level for inbound investment. Actually, today, almost just before this meeting, they met with the mayor. They had a pretty in-depth discussion with the mayor, a very good conversation. And in turn, Marcela just mentioned this, they also provided some insights as far as site selectors, because they have the pulse on what site selectors are looking for. They are working with them to fill out a survey. They're polling about 50 site selectors as well as corporate executives, and this survey is about Brownsville. What are their perspectives, them from the outside in? What are their perspectives about Brownsville? That way, once we start working on our messaging, we know exactly where we're coming from. Omnitrax, we met with them last month, looking at some partnerships as far as marketing initiatives, also business recruitment and site selectors. They also have their network of site selectors, so we'll be leaning on them. The airport, we've had several meetings with them. They are hosting actually a handful of prospects, so we're making sure that they have everything that they need to support them, and planning as well for the upcoming International Air Show and Conference. Also met with Adam. He's from COSTEP. That is a regional economic development organization, and not met with them yet. So they conduct the marketing for really not just the region, but everything in between Brownsville, Corpus, and Laredo. But they are actually a good source of lead generation. That's one of the things that I found out, which is good for us. So for us, we just happen to look at every possible angle as far as lead generation. We are going to have a new hire, introducing a new team member this time next month. So here in a couple of weeks, it's a new person coming in to work on our lead generation, organization of our business recruitment program, and then also start working on our strategic plan, which is going to start next month. Panel discussions, for some reason there were quite a few this month and last month. We're asked to be on a panel to talk about space projects and infrastructure. Our audience were high-level executives within TxDOT. We shared the stage with Norman Garza, who's a Texas Space Commissioner. So that was a pretty insightful, pretty much a roundtable discussion that we had with them. The Space Symposium, that is happening May 28th and 29th here in downtown Brownsville. We're already working on getting a good lineup of speakers and panelists and looking to host 3 to 4 site selectors. So I think we've already gotten commitment from at least one site selector to come in and tour the community and in turn speak to the community as well. Moving on to some of our projects, lead generation, as per Jerry's report, we received 13 RFIs and RFPs from the governor's office. We responded to one, which fit our criteria. And site selector, actually I was talking about this to DCI earlier today. We had a site selector that reached out to us. It's a site selector we hosted 12 years ago to submit for a particular project that they have. They have a short list of 3 cities, and he said, I need you all to submit because this is something that fits you all to a T. Again, that just goes back to the relationships that we've built over the years with the site selectors. And then a Indiana and Ohio trip as part of a Team Texas trade mission. came back with 10 leads, of which we are following up with. Project Alice, we had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with the mayor, county judge, and city manager, as well as the people with Project Alice. So we're trying to find ways to support the project, and it's probably going to involve the collaboration of 4 different entities locally to try to see how we can figure how to best move this project forward. The county, their EDC, we met with them and Harlingen EDC as well, looking at doing a joint trade mission to Monterrey. So we already have the commitment from our mayor, the Harlingen mayor, as well as the county judge, to go out there and get in front of a audience of 60 to 70 investors from the Monterrey region, specifically looking at Cameron County. Obviously, we're going to be pitching Brownsville. And adding to that, Eleazar, he just came back from Monterrey yesterday. He was there all week with the mayor for a trade mission through Inc. Monterrey. And on top of that, it's just the way we operate. Eleazar was very proactive in getting the mayor to go visit one of our top projects, go and meet with their executives as well, tour the facilities. So spoke with the mayor, and he came back with some very good feedback in regards to that project. And that particular project could have the potential to be an anchor tenant for our proposed tech park. Project Mustang, they're starting to narrow their selection for the site. We are communicating with them, and insofar they've been asking all the right questions, so those are good indicators. We're hopeful that they are going to have a decision by May. Actually, they said in May they are going to make their final decisions. We're just around the corner with that one. And again, this is a major brand name, which would again just add to all of that activity that we're having on that North Brownsville industrial corridor. Project Turbine, that is a local company that is looking to expand. They've outgrown their facility, and now they're looking at a property in the vicinity of where we have the tech park as well as the North Brownsville Industrial Park. If they do proceed with building out there, then they would be adding an additional 50 jobs to the existing 150 jobs that they have. Good paying jobs, and this is an advanced manufacturer and assembly of final products. And pretty much 100% of their workforce comes from Brownsville. So very exciting to see how we can work with them. Project Oxidize, we are waiting. It looks like we will be having an announcement very, very soon. So we're just waiting for them to come back with their final edits on their actual announcement. Yeah, they've already broken ground. They're driving pilings into the ground, and this is a company out at the North Brownsville Industrial Park. They're looking to pour concrete sometime soon. And again, this is a company which is a major supplier in the aerospace sector, about $100 million in capital investment. The majority of that investment is in equipment, and they would be creating about 90 jobs plus another 120 to 130 indirect jobs. In closing, 2-3 more items here. Just last week, we issued a press release about Brownsville being ranked the 5th city in the United States that people are moving into. And that's on top of already being named the #1 city for the #1 metro for investment as far as emerging economies, and then the #4 city that's adding the most high-income households. The state of the city, that's next week. We met with the mayor and their communications department have provided a lengthy summary to them as far as our economic development activity, some of our capital investments, some of our projects, new projects in our pipeline, job creation, and of course, the recent national rankings, of which we've said this is no accident. This is work this is a work in progress and something that really started about a decade ago. And then finally, our strategic planning. We're looking at our board retreat. We will be scheduling that the week of April 21st. Hopefully, most of the board members will be available for that. That is to be hosted by TIP Strategies, a consulting firm out of Austin and New York as well. And I like to say this is where the rubber meets the pavement as it pertains to the direction, not only of this organization, but the direction of economic development and Brownsville. So this is where we get to roll up our sleeves and plan the future for the next 3 to 5 years. That concludes my report. I am happy to answer any questions.
Sorry. Go ahead.
to any questions?
I just want to note that April 21st is Aggie Muster.
Is what?
It's Aggie Muster. That's if you've gone to A&M.
With all due respect, that's a bad joke.
Good job.
Thank
Any
you.
more questions, guys?
Thank you, Mr. Salinas.
Thank you, Gilbert, thank you.
Next item. Consideration, discussion, and possible action for the nomination and selection of president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer pursuant to GBIC's bylaws.
You got anything to add, Pepper?
Chairman, the way to proceed is one of the board members would nominate with the candidates for the 4 officer positions, and there can't be dueling motions on the floor, so whoever makes the first motion, they would have to either second it or not second it, and then so forth. So essentially open the floor up for nominations, or you can have a discussion and then make a motion.
Okay. Can we entertain a motion, continue the way we are with the same ones at one motion? Do we have to do each individual?
No, one motion for all the officer positions.
Okay,
Okay, I make a motion to accept the current officers to be nominated.
He said we have to do them all at one. I mean, not all, one at a time, right?
No, it would be one joint motion with
Okay.
all the officers.
I'll second Dr. Hinojosa's motion to accept the current officer positions as they are, assuming that they all agree, in one motion for the current officers.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second. If, let's just take a vote.
okay, let's have a discussion. All the officers, current officers accept the positions they have now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Agree, approve.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 The ayes have it, the motion passes. Oh, yeah, we got, sorry.
Next item. Discussion, consideration, and approval of VITA's proposal presented by Felida Villarreal.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, VIDA is a nonprofit organization which provides training and opportunities at upskilling low-income, unemployed, or underemployed people in the Rio Grande Valley, and in this instance, for people here in Brownsville. They are coming in for their annual ask of $250,000, where VIDA would be providing a $50,000 match for a total of $300,000. So with that, and that would be used for training to support a minimum of 55 Brownsville residents. So with that, allow me to introduce Ms. Felida Villarreal, President and CEO of VIDA.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I'd like to start
Ma'am,
off.
could you speak up a little more?
Or into the microphone.
Oh, I can move it. Is that better? Thank you. I'd like to start off by expressing my immense gratitude to the entire board of GBIC for the past support of VIDA's workforce development program. Like Mr. Salinas mentioned, I did provide a one-page project update in your pamphlet. And this is based on last year's contract for fiscal year 2023 to 2024. Our contractual benchmark was to serve at least 67 Brownsville residents in high-demand training occupations. We surpassed the benchmark, by more than double, serving 144 low-income residents, all from the Brownsville area. Majority of them were in the skilled trades occupation, and following that, the majority of the participants studied careers and allied health, some in STEM, and education and social services. You can see a breakdown as well of the average age of participants. So currently, the majority of our participants are within 18 to 24 years of age. I would also like to highlight that our persistence rate was 94%. So out of the 144 individuals, we only had 8 individuals that dropped out and did not successfully complete their certification. So a little bit about our outcomes is really the core of our program is our intensive case management. So part of our staff, we have 5 full-time career counselors. They each have a caseload of no more than 80 students, and they're required to meet with the students every week. And so that really develops an accountability between the counselor and the student to ensure that they're successfully progressing in their academic studies and that we can address any barriers to education completion, which may range from childcare assistance to transportation to any other personal barriers that they may be facing. Currently, here in Brownsville, the average graduation rate at the local college is 27%. Our average graduation rate of VITA participants is 83%. And so this is attributed again, thanks to the intensive case management that we provide. With me today is also a recent VITA graduate, Jose Araiza, who would like to share a little bit about his story and how VITA has assisted him through his education.
Good afternoon. My name is Jose Araiza, the guy in the middle over here. I've been a resident in Brownsville for 18 years. And also I'm a veteran. Back 3 years ago, I was struggling financially big time, working 70 to 80 hours a week with the $10, hours making over here to provide for 5 members of my family. And one day I was looking for work. And Mr. Sid, the one on the left, he told me, "Are you committed?" I said, "Yes." "Are you sure you can complete this program?" I said, "Yes, if you provide me with the tools and everything, that can make me successful." And thanks to him and the help of the program, right now I make $11,000 a month. Yes, I'm not working locally, but this program really helps. It changed my life, the life of my kids. I mean, it would be better for me to work here locally, but most of the companies here, they don't want to pay the money. We go to training, we get certified, and right now I'm my 3rd year trying to get my license because I'm not planning to stay up north all the time. I want to be here. Maybe in 1 or 2 years, I want to open my own business. I tell my neighbors, my family, to go to this program. Yes, I went to UTB and I graduated after this program. I struggled working full-time, going to school full-time, but this program, the electrical program especially, opened my doors for everything. Right now, thank God, I have a good house, good vehicles for my kids, my wife, and I'm not struggling right now. The only struggle is when you drive like 9 hours to get to work, but guess what? They made me work for a month, I come back for a week, and my goal is to stay here, Brownsville. That's my home. I know a lot of these guys, some of them are working over there, but they want to be here. Nobody wants to leave home, leave the family behind. I leave my family behind, but did that before in the service? It's not fun. It's no joke. You were stressed. That's why I look for opportunities for my kids. I told my son, "You want to go to university? Guess what? Go to this program. Hopefully you get in and become an electrician." All these programs, especially like welding, they have welding, they have electrical. They provide with the tools and everything. Give me the tools to start, and as you go up to the program, I already did my 2 years, my 2 classes, I finished them. Now I'm looking for my license. And I just say, yes, only goes for a certain amount of people, but it would be better to provide for more people. People are really want to succeed. I used to work for the probation department for 8 years, making $2,000 a month. Wasn't helping me. I had to look forward to provide for my family. Thanks to VITA, I'm there, and I can move forward for more. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So
So very similar to Historia, we have hundreds of other individuals pursuing occupations in the skilled trades. And like he mentioned, that's one of the challenges that we continue to see as a workforce development agency is that the job opportunities specifically for skilled trades are still not as competitive here as in other places. I will say that our program does offer other career paths like nursing, allied health, STEM, and with those graduates, we see it a lot easier to be able to place them here locally. So with that, like Mr. Salinas mentioned, we are here requesting your consideration to renew our contract for a $250,000 10-month agreement in which we are guaranteeing at least a $50,000 match for a total program budget of $300,000 to serve at least 55 Brownsville residents. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Any questions, guys?
I thank you for being here. I'm looking at your expenditure report for the one that has the 2 pages. It's kind of a long spread. But with respect to the program services, it says salaries and fringe benefits. Are those go directly to the people you're helping or are those administrative costs?
So those direct program salaries are a direct program cost because they are the individuals that are providing a direct service to the students. So they're directly providing career counseling service, career guidance, mentoring, workshops, soft skills, training, development, and ultimately job placement services.
Okay, so their administrative costs directly related to executing the program, right?
So we have a combination of personnel costs. There's certain personnel, like my salary would be administrative because I don't provide any services to students. But there are certain occupations, depending on the job descriptions. For example, career counselors, those are not administrative salaries, those are program salaries.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any more questions, guys?
One more question. Last year, we gave you a schedule of careers that we were looking to push. How did we do on that? Did we see a high demand more on the ones that we provided, or what was the result of that?
Yeah, so I would say based on the pie chart that we have, so we had 68% of the students pursue a career in one of those occupations list. So we were able to do extensive outreach and, you know, the demand is there. However, I will say that equally as, you know, important and in demand are other industries that we see, specifically in healthcare as well.
And you're saying that it's hard, the pay is still not where it should be down here in some of these jobs we're asking for training in?
Yes, based on the experience that we've had, a lot of our graduates end up leaving to work and drive back and forth. Others that have obtained certain contracts here locally, it's been all through a contractor. So it's not direct employment.
I remember we asked you to, how long time do you follow the students and follow up after they finish the program? The success rate for them keeping the job.
Right, so we do follow them up to 3 years after graduation, and we try our best to stay in contact with them to try to understand where is it that they're still working and living and who their employer is. It is a little bit difficult because at that time, you know, it's up to the student to, you know, return our phone call or our emails. We also do utilize a database called Equifax, and so that database also provides us information, employment information, but only for employers that are registered through Equifax. And so we have a lot of employers here that currently are not registered within the database.
Since it's been such a long partnership, I think that it would help the board if, you know, some of the staff, and I think that Gilbert has plans to do this, you know, if y'all built a closer relationship where they can give us their firsthand knowledge and experience with Vida so that we're more familiar with it because we only see you guys once a year. So it's just something that I think both sides can work on.
Yes, absolutely.
I make a motion to approve.
Yeah, I need a motion.
Hold on, Mr. Chairman, just
I have a
Uh,
question. This is Ms. O'Quinn.
Okay, go ahead.
I might have missed it, but when the presentation was being made, I think it was stated that 124 participants have gone through the program with the exception of the 8 that didn't make it. Is that correct?
Yes, 144 were the total, and out of the 144, 8 dropped out.
So my question is, out of the 140, out of the 8, the 144 minus the 8 that didn't make it, how many of those stay locally in Bronzeville? And I know it's a one, miss here and there as stated because of, the hiring and the pay rate, but how many of those actually stay in Bronzeville and work in Bronzeville?
Yeah, so we've pulled that information in previous years, and what we've found is that typically more than half, so more than 50% of the total population being served in Bronzeville does stay here, and in Bronzeville specifically. And then the other half, half of that may travel outside of Bronzeville, and then the other half of the half will stay within the Rio Grande Valley, not necessarily Bronzeville. So they may be in Harlingen, San Benito, in a neighboring city. And what we found is very much in tune with the type of demographic that we're serving. So we do, the average age of our participant is about 27 years old. So because it's more of an adult learner with family ties and roots in the community, that's another factor that we see really encourages them to stay within the Rio Grande Valley.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just a comment, looking at the numbers here, it looks like if you break out the actual direct job training that ultimately benefited the participants, we're at about 150,000. If you take the salaries and fringe benefits at the top that were direct and indirect, that's about 100,000 out of the 300. So we're looking at about a 30% administrative cost as opposed to directly affecting the job training. So is there any way that we can put a stipulation that most of the amounts should go directly to job training to benefit the participants?
Can I add a comment to that?
Sure.
So, and actually, my background is public accounting, so I am a CPA by trade. And when we look at administrative costs or overhead costs, it's any expense that is not directly tracked to the product or service being given. Here, we're not manufacturing a product, we are providing a service. And so the salaries of direct program personnel, like counselors, like career advisors, like employment specialists, their expenses is directly linked to the student outcomes. If we take away investment or if we lessen that component of our program, then you get the outcomes that we see at the local college, which is a local college graduation rate of 27%, a persistence rate of 50%. Our persistent rates year to year are above 90. We have a graduation rate of above 83%. That's not because we're giving, scholarships to the individuals. It's because our program is directly made up of a case management component where these advisors are directly impacting the student's success and student outcomes.
So how are you tracking the counseling to the Brownsville residents as opposed to everyone else?
We have certain counselors that are allocated to this area specifically. So we have 2 counselors that come 2 to 3 times out of the week to Bronzeville to meet with their students in person. In addition to that, they do online workshops where they also incorporate a soft skills training component. So they also teach on topics like mental health awareness, communication skills, leadership skills. There is a curriculum that we also provide in addition to the technical training they're receiving at the college or at another institution of higher ed.
So those counselors are specifically dedicated for Brownsville residents only, or do they do other participants?
We have a couple of personnel that are directly just allocated to Bronzeville students, and then we have some personnel that is shared, But again, we don't have any one person being fully compensated by the grant.
Okay, so when you, yeah, no, so when you allocate, this number is completely 100% for Brownsville.
Yes. Correct.
Any more questions?
Made a motion to,
Motion, we have a motion to what, to approve?
to approve the staff recommendation.
Okay,
A second.
any discussions? Any more discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Ayes have them, the motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Villarreal. Next item, discussion, consideration, and approval of the letter of interest from the city of Brownsville.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to request that we move this item after executive session.
After what?
Executive session?
After executive session?
Correct. Yes, sir.
We got people here waiting. Mayor is here, and you okay with that? Okay. Fine with me.
Thank you.
Next item, discussion, consideration, and acknowledgement of the Greater Brownsville Incentive Corporation financials presented by Salvador Villalpando.
Good afternoon, Board. Today we'll be going over the financials through the month of February, which is 5 months into the fiscal year. Current total assets are at 43 million, with 2.1 million in cash, 26.7 in investments, 587,000 in receivables, which is the sales tax for the month of January, and 13.6 million in capital assets. With that, we have liabilities at 183,000, and our total net position is currently at 42.8 million. Within our net position, capital assets are at 13.6 million, and our operating fund is at 29.2. And within our operating fund, we have 2.1 million designated, contractual obligations, and 27 million undesignated. On this slide here, we have our budget to actuals through the month of February. Total revenues are currently at 3.4 million, with 2.7 in sales tax, 493,000 in interest earned, 199,000 on a gain of sale of land, 2,000 in sponsorships, and 26,000 in miscellaneous revenues. Total expenditures are currently at 1.3 million, with 905,000 in operating, 50,000 in incentive, and 381,000 in initiatives. With that, we have total revenues over expenditures of 2.1 million through the month of February. And then lastly, we have the sales tax comparison between this fiscal year and the previous. For the month of January, we had pretty healthy sales tax collections. We had another increase of above 20%, which is 26.3%. Total collections were 591,000. Through the first 4 months, collections are at 2.7 million, which is a 6% increase. And that increase amounts to about 8 million in sales tax collections for the full fiscal year. That covers the financials. If there's any questions?
Do we know what was the increase in January or no?
So although it shows a decrease, that decrease is due to a one-time adjustment for last calendar year. There was an adjustment due to an audit by the comptroller. There was an additional 1 million allocated to the city of Brownsville. From that, GBIC got an additional 125,000 in collections. If we're comparing true collections to collections, we had an increase of about 20% compared to last fiscal year in December. I did speak to the city finance department for the month of January to see if that 26% increase was due to another audit. They're not aware of one being done this year, so it seems like it's just actual collections for this December.
Any more questions?
Make a motion to acknowledge.
Second.
Any discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have them, the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Villalpando. Next item, closed session pursuant to the Texas Government Code Section 551.071, 551.072, and 551.087, related to project industrial and project safety.
Make a motion to go to executive session.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 We're going to executive. Thank you very much. That's what you wanted? Molly, this is all signed and sealed. Okay, we're back in session.
I make a motion to reconvene into open session.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I have it. We are back in session. Petro, sorry.
So, no, just, no action taken in executive, so we can return to action item number 3. Which would be to approve, the discussion, consideration, approval of letter of interest from the city of Brownsville, subject to legal review.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Moving
Second.
to approve the LOI.
Subject to legal review.
Okay,
Second.
and we got a motion.
Make a
to approve
motion.
The LOI.
Make a motion.
Second.
Okay, I got 2 motions now.
Got dueling motions. So I think, Mr. Peña made the first motion, so we would. need a
Okay,
second.
then I second then.
Yes.
Okay,
All,
okay, any discussions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much for coming in to explain it to us, city. We look forward to get that LOI going. Anything else? Next item?
Motion to adjourn?
second.
No.
You got
All those in favor say aye.
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 I am yet to have a no on that. Thank you. And thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you very much. I know it's late, but thank you. I need to switch it on as well. Normally forget that too.